Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Today we're gonna do a tier list. With the upcoming NWCQ, Remote Duel Wise is the European. Which decks are the best ones? So, first of all, we have Despia. Now, there are multiple takes on Despia. There is the Bestial Control version of Despia, which can also play Etude. There is the version that still main deck the Puppet Lock, and there is a more fair version that doesn't that just plays the Dark Magician package with Dragoon. So, in my opinion, this deck is very good, but it's sealed to a tier 1.5. I'm a huge fan of the deck. I love this deck, but it's just a metacle deck. It's not a deck that can consistently perform. It's a deck that when people start to get prepared for it, it's kind of over. Bestial Control, I guess. Bestial Control, in my opinion, is also a metacle deck and also loses to cash. Like, even though I think this deck might be good without the Rocket Engine, I don't think I would play it. I don't think would be one of the choices for this meta, in my opinion. If I had to play Bestial Control pure, it's a tier 2. Bestial Control with rockets, then would be like a lot of beasts, so it would be rocket turbo bestials, or how do you want to call it, then it's a tier 1.5. But only rocket and only bestials, they do not, like, they are not tier 1.5, they are possibly tier 2 alone. But if we mix them together, it's a 1.5. So purely, I do believe this deck is super good, especially going second. I don't think this deck is a going first deck. It's 100% in tier 1.5, and I would even put it on the top of the tier 1.5. You guys might call me crazy, but I tested the deck. It actually feels amazing. This deck actually feels amazing going second. And the best card of your deck is Happiness. Why would you not utilize Happiness in any possible manner? I do actually love it and feels very good to me. Dark Wars is tier 2. I don't think there is any an explanation that's needed for this, to be honest with you. Dino the same, it's solid tier 2. The deck has some very big weakness. I'm still working on it. I do believe that with the proper testing and proper management of the resources and stuff, then might maybe shift maybe top tier 2, but I don't think it's a top tier deck per se. Pendulum Ignister, tier 2, just unfair when it goes first. Going second, same issues as any other Pendulum deck. Drytron though is, even though it's very interesting with so many bestials being in the meta and also Dragon Link being in a 1.5, then Drytron is sealed to be a tier 2 deck, because this deck suffers bestials too much. Eldritch, Local Enjoyer. You can play Eldritch in your locals, otherwise just play, if you want a competitive trap deck, you just play Labyrinth. Flanderis is actually, in my opinion, a very good call. Flanderis is a 1.5. You know how much I hate Flander, but I need...
Don't play Flanderis, that shit lasts forever, that shit's always break.
You heard the man. Evil Eye is Local Enjoyer, Rogue, how do you want to call it? Exosister is Rogue. We saw some decks actually performing well recently with Exosister using the new Spirit Engine. It's not horrible, it's just that, in my opinion, it's an outdated engine. It's not maybe I might be wrong, maybe it might be a tier 2, but it doesn't really shift from Rogue or tier 2, to be honest. I mean, Runic, Sprite, Furair. I mean, to be honest, placing this deck as a tier 1 feels weird. I don't want to do that. I think it's at the top of 1.5. My main concern about this deck is not the combo itself, because the combo is super powerful. When you resolve it, you are winning because you go plus infinite. It's like resolving 5 pot of grids. My main concern is the amount of runics when you go second, because in the main deck you can only afford 15. I actually went over the deck list with very knowledgeable player of this deck, and they were like 15 is it's just like you cannot break the 15. You cannot go over 15 in this deck because you have to cut utility for that then, and it's not worth it. So only running 15 runics in a deck that in a runic deck that in my opinion needs at least like 16, 17 feels super weird. Might be a good meta call for some events, like the deck feels obviously super strong when you open Rex, and when you go first, this deck is, I mean, actually very super good and plays better into draw than the between version. The main concern that I have about this deck are the runic when you go second. Feels very weird, and that's why I'm not feeling comfortable on putting this deck as a tier 1, but I think it would be a very good meta call for some events, and 1.5 is definitely worth it. Evil Twin, Sprite, Runic, in my opinion, this deck is tier 1. Plays a little bit worse into draw, but the versatility of this deck, the amount of cards that, like the amount of starters that you can play in this deck, the circulation, going into Griffon lines, having a game plan against every possible board breaker, in my opinion, makes this deck a solid tier 1, and like there is no much to say about it, which makes a hugely difference without the runic. That, in my opinion, without the runic is a tier, might be tier 1.5 because I didn't test it without the runic because they didn't feel worth it. I'm just gonna put it as a top tier 2. Gate Guardian. I mean, we saw the German nation. Like the guy with the Gate Guardian literally destroyed the poor Vanadium Enjoyer. So that would deserve a tier 2 at least, but to be honest with you, local enjoyer. I'm gonna be real and I'm gonna try to be less biased as possible. Guru Dragoon, local enjoyer if you wanna ruin someone day. Hero is super interesting actually. Like, I do think that people are actually sleeping on Hero. Like being able to summon a Floodgate on your opponent using Hero Dark Angel to summon a Floodgate on your opponent, like in my opinion, it's being very slept on. I do believe this deck has very high potential. I do believe that this deck is actually super good. I don't even think it's bad, to be honest with you guys. I actually think this deck has a lot of potential. I don't feel comfortable to put it as a tier 2. I would feel comfortable putting, like, it would be a top tier 2, bottom 1.5. I do think people are sleeping on this. Like, this deck is actually not horrible at all. I'm gonna put it top tier 2 because I really think this deck has a lot of potential. The fact that you can actually access very easily Floodgate monsters, it's insane to me. You have Dark Law, Plasma, and you have Dark Angel. Those are 3 amazing Floodgates. And, I mean, amazing Floodgates, by the way. I'm sorry. And also you have DPE. And, like, in my opinion, like, it's actually good. Actually super good. I don't want to get roasted, so I'm gonna put it top tier 2, but personally speaking, would be bottom 1.5. Ignister is, in my opinion, the version of Ignister that might be probably the most playable one is the one with Matmec. Ignister Pure is just not good enough. I would put it in Rogue. If it's just Ignister Pure, then if we mix it with Matmec, there might be a top, so solid tier 2, or maybe bottom 1.5. Ikea Labyrinth 1.5, in my opinion, would be at one of the top 1.5. Very good as a meta call. Like, it's not as versatile as the tier 1 decks, but it's actually super good if we counter properly the meta with this deck. It's okay. Like, it's actually okay. With the presence of the Bestials, probably like this position, maybe up after Rockets, because of the presence of the Bestial. This deck actually suffers Bestials. Kashtira, I mean, nothing to say about it. Sorry guys, the ban list did nothing to this deck. There are two viable versions of this deck. One goes strictly going second, and one plays quick spells that are flexible going first and second. And in my opinion, it's like very hard to counter. Labyrinth Pure, tier 1. I do agree on that. I think Labyrinth Pure is probably what people should move on because of the presence of the Runics, because you can play Evilly Sky Prison. Mikanko with Libromancer, Rogue at best. Virtual World, why we are here to suffer. My poor Virtual World. But hey, there is the new trap. Rollback is the card that I was talking about. So Virtual World might actually be decent in the future. Then we have tier elements with Luna Light. I do think that's probably not the best version right now, especially because we don't have anymore the Cyberstein. With the Cyberstein, I would have said hands down this version was probably the best one, but without the Cyberstein, because it was very accessible using this engine, but without the Cyberstein, I don't think I'm not as confident as I was when I started testing and playing this deck. So I'll say it's top rogue with this engine, especially maybe bottom tier 2 actually. Bottom tier 2 would be actually nice. Okay, so rank 8 good stuff, bottom tier 2, Machina, Local Enjoyer, Manadium, Rogue at best. Actually, Rogue at best. Marinces is, like, in my opinion, is not good. Like, it's actually not good. I don't care how many tops this deck can have. This deck is not good. Like, the engine is outdated. The deck does nothing. Okay? It just relies on Floodgate. Then, if you are in a good day and you win, fine. But don't expect me to put these in tier 2, 1.5 or tier 1. Then we have Ignister with Matmech. Ignister Matmech. Solid tier 2. Solid tier 2, but again, with the presence of the bestials, it's actually super weird. Matmech itself is bottom tier 2, rogue at best, maybe top rogue. I mean, you know what? Bottom tier 2. Bottom tier 2 seems like probably the sweet spot for it. Mikanko Pure is... I'm gonna put it top rogue. But that might be actually led by my ignorance, because I don't think... I didn't test the deck enough to know if the deck performs like way better than I thought. So it's actually conceptual. It's actually conceptual what I'm doing right now. This is conceptually what I think about the deck. Runic with Naturia, top rogue. Numerelia, Local Enjoyer. Ninja, Local Enjoyer. Nouvelle is actually super interesting, because I saw some lists that are playing the Incantation package. My main concern is about how you clear boards with this deck. I do believe that it has some potential in the future. I'm gonna put it bottom tier 2, or actually not even bottom tier 2, because I think that there are some potential for this deck actually to perform very well. Yeah, maybe in the middle of the tier 2. I do believe that this deck has actually some potential. I can see this deck performing very well in the future. Or, I mean, very well, sorry. Let's cap. I'm saying decently. I can see this deck performing decently in the future. I like the Incantation package. The deck just goes plus infinite and hard loses to draw, so it's like very weird to place this deck. So I would say, like, this deck is a tier 2. It's not a rogue, it's not a Local Enjoyer deck, because this deck actually does something. And it does something that does something, and also clears board. It has a counter trap searchable. The recovery is amazing. It has the issues of any ritual decks. But doesn't even go so neg. The main concern is the field spell is a choke point. But the cards are actually good. I think it's interesting. This deck is actually interesting. Stun is just like not even a local enjoyer. Like I would say, I mean, to be honest, local enjoyer. Fuck that. Plunder Patrol at best is rogue. Plunder Patrol with adventure at best is rogue, and with Runic too. I don't even think it's good. I think there are so many better ways to play the deck. To play the Runic engine. Like, this deck does not utilize the Runic engine as much as the Evil Twin or as much as the Runic Furrier. And just to point it out, I do think that the Evil Twin version is slightly better than the Runic Furrier because I feel like it has more flexibility and it has space for more flex spots and it can play more Runics that going second, in my opinion, are very good. But nothing to deny to the Runic Furrier version that goes plus infinite when it goes first, and plays slightly better into draw. I do personally believe that the Evil Twin version is slightly better, just slightly though. It's it's not like a big difference. From my perspective, I think this is like top 1.5 and this is 1 point. Like, Gold Pride, I tested, it's not good. Gold Pride, I mean, with Punk, top tier 2. This one, Rogue as well, Punk with Therion, bottom Rogue. That's how bad it is, actually. That's how bad it is. Salaman Great, Rogue. Rikasana is... you guys might not agree on that. I do believe that Rikasana is a very good deck. I'm actually thinking to put this deck as a tier 1. I'm actually thinking to put this deck as a tier 1. If it's not, would it be the second place for tier 1.5. So would it be actually here. Next one, Dogmatica. Dogmatica is like rogue at best. This deck actually goes rogue because of a very specific card, because otherwise it would be a local enjoyer deck. Like Albazoa is actually insane, and that's what makes this deck rogue. That's it. Stan is rogue at best. Scareclaw is rogue at best. Super Heavy Samurai.
I'm not dead.
I'm gonna cope on it, okay? I'm gonna cope on it. Bottom tier 2. I'm gonna cope on it. I decided to cope on it, okay? I don't think there are some versions that can actually make the deck a tier 2. I now, with the knowledge that people have, probably top rogue. I'm gonna cope on it. I don't care! It's gonna be bottom tier 2. Striker, brother. Striker Pure, tier 2 at best. The Pure version is probably better than the Runic one. Sprite Melfi. Actually, Sprite Melfi, super interesting. I'm very tempted to put this deck as a tier 1. I do think the deck is actually super good. I do think this deck is actually super good. But again, it has some issues, especially with the extenders that you can run, because we lost extenders. So 1.5 deserved. 1.5 deserved. Might be a good meta call. I don't think it's always a good choice to bring Sprite Melfi, and that's why we're doing that. Sprite with Runic, just Sprite Runic, 3 Brigade, like all the Sprite engine and stuff can just go tier 2 here. Like that, nothing better, to be honest. Maybe this one here, then we can run. Probably it's not, yeah, it's something around those lines. Sword Soul. My brothers, like it's actually unplayable. I wouldn't even put it after Dino. Yeah, probably after Dino. And this was actually a good discovery. Tier Elements is actually like feels good. Like tier 2 solid tier 2. Solid tier 2 and probably better than most of this shit. Actually, I'm gonna put it top tier 2. I think this deck has a lot of potential. Satellar Knight, rogue at best. Trap tricks with the Therion stuff. It's like I mean, they are the same deck, to be honest. Like it's just a package that changed. To be honest, like it's literally just a package. Tier 2, 3 Brigade, Lirolusk, Rogue at best. I mean, I guess like, Striker, you can go here. Actually, no, this with Runic is actually super bad. I don't like bottom. No, it's not even bottom. Bottom tier 2, yeah. And then we go. Okay, here is the thing. You guys might hate me, okay? But I actually tested the deck. It's not like I'm shutting sentence. I think this deck sucks. Like, sucks a lot. And you know what's crazy? That Vanquish cannot beat Striker. Vanquish actually cannot beat Striker. If you tested the matchup, you know how Striker that shit is hard. So, to be honest, Vanquish Soul, tier 2, and that's a gift. And that's a gift right there. That's a gift right there. Because people are actually doing well. But it's not good. It's not even close to be a 1.5. I don't care if they win a Wisest with that. I don't care if they win the National with that. I don't care if they win European with that. That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. That makes absolutely... how the deck is doing well, to me, makes no sense at all. Like, there is no way that a deck that's bad like that can actually do well. And it's happening. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment below. Let me know your thoughts about Vanquish, I guess. And even though it's performing very well, after testing the deck, it felt super bad. Let me know if you tested the deck and how it felt for you. That's it. See you next time.